Hello there. My name is Vincent, and this is a reading for all the folks out there with placements in the good old crab, Cancer. I'd say it doesn't really matter what placements you've got there. If the message resonates, then I guess it's yours. I'm recording this reading as the moon is about 1.5 degrees away from conjoining with Mars in the sign of Virgo. So there's a little bit of gasoline kind of poured on me right now. I didn't sleep very well, but I feel like I have gusto, like I want to be doing things. So we're gonna try this out. I've already been having trouble with my lunar eye, my left eye. Like it just feels like there's something in it and I can't get it. So if I'm like messing with my eye through the reading, just know it's probably that. It's Mars showing up on my little moon right here. I've already pulled a card for you. We have the Five of Swords. So I don't know if you're dealing with a situation where somebody feels like they've been defeated. There's some aspect of somebody feeling like they didn't quite make the cut, like they didn't have the skills up for the task at hand, feel like a failure. And I'm going to pull some more cards to get a little bit more specific, but this is also the first decan of Aquarius. It's, I believe it's a Venus-ruled decan. Maybe somebody with Venus in Aquarius is relevant, or somebody with placements in that decan. Doesn't have to be any of those things. It's just, I try to provide all the extra information that might help somebody make sense of things. It's really interesting. For some reason, I'm like staring into this card and I'm looking at the clouds, and what it's making me think of is like a scratchy throat. Like it's really, really strange. Maybe there's some element of somebody holding back from saying something and somebody beat you to it. Kind of like what I'm seeing. I saw this recently. It's a clip from The Devil Wears Prada. Forgive me, I haven't watched that movie in forever, and I don't remember all the characters' names. But they're at like an event, and Meryl Streep's character is being approached by somebody well known at this event, and her assistant can't remember who it is because she's like sick. And so she's like not thinking quite straight, and she's like really struggling to perform at her peak, and she just can't do it. And then the other character, I can't remember the actress's name either, she kind of steps in and tells Meryl Streep's character who it is that's approaching her before he approaches and greets them. So it seems like she remembers who they are, and it looks good on her part. But yeah, there's just this element of somebody else kind of showing you up, or maybe you showing somebody else up, and the other person kind of feeling like their throat is on lockdown. Not necessarily literally, but maybe like they've been unable to say something that would have been like the deciding, that it would have made the deciding point that changed things maybe in their favor. But things have kind of gone awry, so to speak. And I don't know if this is relevant to you, like this has happened to you. You were the person that was supposed to say something that didn't, and then ended up in a position of failure, so to speak, or if this is somebody else that you're dealing with. We have the Sun as your next card. This is Leo's card. You know, the Sun is in Leo as I'm recording this. Mercury is also going retrograde in the sign of Leo, so there's a lot of stuff happening there, and I feel like this has everything to do with... Interesting. I was gonna say, like, the person who didn't say what they should have said, you know, whether it feels like they've done something wrong, like they failed in some way because they weren't expressing the truth, or they weren't embodying the confidence necessary to do something. I feel like it kind of was meant to happen that way. If there were some factors at play that sort of restricted or constrained, led you down this so-called path of failure, it's to lead you somewhere else. I feel like it's to lead you towards somebody or a situation where there's more support, there's more ease, in the sense of you're able to embody the person that you are, without feeling like other people are judging you, because they're also being truthful to themselves. And I feel like that's kind of the theme for what's happening with you right now, is this sort of test of whether or not you're willing to compromise on who you are in order to perform or to hold a specific position in the social hierarchy or at work. To me, this could also indicate somebody who is being very cutting and calculating. The sun tends to like purify and sort of burn away false impressions and false conceptions. And the suit of swords is obviously the suit of the intellect of the air element. And so with these two combined, I'm seeing somebody who's very cold, very calculating, very much like, this is the situation, without any, no frills, like without any embellishments, without any distractions. This is what's actually happening, point blank, end of story. And there can be some fallout from a situation like that. I know this is kind of the opposite situation for what I was saying before, with somebody withholding their truth. But that's kind of the way the tarot works, is when it shows you one thing, it's also implying the opposite thing. Maybe because one path was the path that was taken, and the other path is the path that one wanted to take. And I hesitated to say should take, because I think a lot of us get into this really dangerous headspace of trying to make sense of what should I do, or what's right for me. That's up for you to decide. And the universe is going to constantly put you in situations to call that question into the case, because it's necessary for us to do the work in order to have the lives that we want. And it's necessary for us to acknowledge that if we don't like where we are in a situation, it comes down to our choices to be able to improve them or to change them in some way, so that we'll end up in a better place. I can go off on another tangent. I don't want to. I'm going to let these cards come out. We have Venus showing up, the Empress, and then we have the Knight of Pentacles. With Venus showing up, I feel compelled to note that probably in the next week or so, I don't remember the exact date, Venus is going to be ingressing into your sign, Cancer, and joining Jupiter there, which I think is going to be very supportive to your goals and to your pursuits. Obviously, depending on what your natal relationship is to Jupiter and or Venus, it's going to look different for everybody, of course. But this to me feels like a sense of appreciating who you are, who you've become, how you've gotten to be where you are. Again, acknowledging the indwelling self, the person who's making the decisions in your life, you, and the progress that you've made. Now, this Knight of Pentacles can also represent another person in your life or an aspect of yourself. Usually an earth sign, Taurus, Virgo, or Capricorn. It doesn't have to be. It just really represents somebody who's being very methodical, very slow, very intentional, and very deliberate about a very real path in life. There's a goal that's being pursued, but he's not rushing towards it. He's trying to make sure that all the details are accounted for, the resources have been audited, and that every mile of the journey has been charted and planned, and you know where you're going to be stopping along the way, and what meals you're going to be having, how much money you have to be spending on those meals, you know, that sort of thing. And I feel like in some cases that approach to life can be very stressful and cause a lot of anxiety for people. I don't feel like that's going to be the case for you should you employ it in whatever your situation is right now, because you do have, you know, Venus showing up. Like, this is feeling like life is beautiful, like it's supporting you, like you have the resources that you need, you have the money in the bank to be purchasing the meals that you've planned out, you know. And like I said, with everything in life, the opposite is always implied. It could be that you don't feel that energy, and maybe this is the energy kind of showing up and reminding you that it does exist. It is there, and maybe Venus's ingress into your sign is going to help you come to a real world understanding of that. Like, if you want something, the universe is going to support your pursuit of that thing. But it needs to know what you want, and in order for that to be the case, you need to know what you want. Something with this card is also telling me, like, the need to choose your battles. You know, there's a time and a place for the sun to be shining, and it's during the day. Like, you don't need to be coming out in the middle of the night. Or what I mean when I say that is, you don't need to be employing your particular approach. You don't need to be... I'm trying to figure out how to say this delicately, because the Five of Swords does imply some level of conflict. It's just... we'll just simplify it. There's no need to, like, pick fights with people that aren't going to be... You know, if the end result of said battle, if you do win it, so to speak, is X, Y, or Z. It's like, is the end result worth it? Like, does it actually help you in the pursuit of your long-term goals, or is it just kind of you passing the time? Are you just poking things to poke things and for no other point? Like, it's a waste of energy to be doing that, and you're also burning bridges, and I feel like it'll end up reflecting badly on your character, and in the long run hinders your progress, because you'll have more people opposed to your goals, and you don't want that. So it's like, be tactful. If there is a battle that needs to be fought, then absolutely fight it. If there's an argument that needs to be had, have it with decorum. You know, refrain from outright carnage. Like, be very respectful, but also be very direct. You know, the sun can be warm, but I feel like the sun can also be very cold, especially when paired with this air element here. Specifically Aquarius. Like, this is the coldest time of the year for us in the northern hemisphere, when the sun is traversing through Aquarius. Like, there's a very cold, stark nature to things. And so I think what's being implied with this combination of Venus and the sun here is this need for warmth, this need for diplomacy, and this need for careful consideration of the consequences of your approach to things. Especially with the Knight of Pentacles here. It's like, pump the brakes. If somebody needs to be slapped, slap them with words. Slap down some, you know, a lawsuit. I don't know. I'm going to pull another card for y'all. I guess two cards are coming out. So we have the King of Pentacles, and then we have the Ten of Wands. Now, I think it's interesting that the king and the knight are both showing up from the suit of pentacles. What immediately popped into my head when I saw the king was somebody who wants to support you. And the way that I just so happened to lay the cards down, he's right under the Empress. So maybe this is an influence that's kind of moving into your life now, where you're going to be approached by somebody who either has fiscal resources and wants to support you in this way, or in a better, or in another interpretation, somebody who appreciates the good things in life and who's going to help you to appreciate those things. Because maybe up until this point, life has been a very intellectual experience, especially with the Five of Swords kind of showing up in the reading. It's like very antagonistic, very cerebral, like overthinking, and then like just speaking out these things that cause problems, frustration, like feeling like everyone and everything is against you, and you have to defend yourself, and the only way to do that is to employ the powers of the mind. But it's like in overdoing that, you sort of separate yourself from the real world and the real reality, you know. And this person is somebody who maybe wears the nice fabrics of silk and linen, and you know, maybe not literally, but somebody who knows how to see the beauty in the sensual world, and who's going to help bring you back down to earth and to reality, and realize that, oh, the world is not completely antagonistic to my goals. It actually wants to be here to support me. And here's how it's showing up. It's showing up with this new person that's popping into my life, or somebody returning from the past. Doesn't necessarily have to be a new person. And again, it could also just be an aspect of yourself that's coming up to the surface. You know, reconnecting with the aspect of yourself that is the King of Pentacles, that does appreciate the finer things in life, that does honor and love what it means to have a physical body in a physical world. You know, feeling how incredible it is to be able to move your fingers, like something as simple as that. Like, it's so liberating. It's so fun, even. And, you know, fun is a key word with the sun. The sun likes to keep things very easy, very steady, very young and playful, jovial, you know. And I feel like that's what this King of Pentacles is sort of standing in to say. Like, it's like, remember what this is like. Remember what it feels like to be a kid and feeling amazed at everything in life. And like you're able to play with it and experience it for the first time, or at least feel like you are. You know, with the Ten of Wands here, next to the King of Pentacles, it's like, yeah, you can do this and still be taking on responsibilities in your life and still be getting the work done. By all means, this card looks kind of ominous, but it doesn't have to be. You don't have to be suffering while you're doing this. Some people thrive under pressure like this, where they've taken on so many different tasks and responsibilities in their professional life or at home, or, you know, however it manifests, whatever projects you're taking on. Some people thrive under that. They like having all these different things to do, and maybe this approach or this experience is what's going to lead you to this, and feeling like Venus, like the beautiful things are showing up for you, like Aphrodite is smiling down upon you because you have so much to do, and because it's maybe providing for you, because you do have the Knight of Pentacles right next to that card. It's like, whatever this is, it's like it's bringing in the money. That isn't why you're doing it, but it is a nice benefit. It's supporting you and providing you with the resources that you need. It doesn't have to be money. I want to clarify that. It's just that with the Pentacles, you usually think of like real world resources, but you can definitely interpret that as being a network of people who help you. I'm seeing like who kind of grab your hand and help pull you up the mountain one step to the next person, and then that person's there to help pull you up. It's like this chain of people helping you to climb this mountain. And you're climbing slowly and deliberately with this Knight of Pentacles. then it's like once you're at the top, you can bask in the sun and appreciate how far you've come. But don't be biting the hands that are pulling you up the mountain along the way, okay? That's a waste of your energy, it's a waste of time. And why would you want to be one of those people who inflicts pain on others? There's plenty of people who do that already. So, take a different approach. Be the smile that makes somebody else's day. You know, light up their world with kindness. If people want to come at you with stuff, as they say, kill them with kindness. I'm trying to see if there's anything else that I don't want to say with these cards. Something else I want to say, it's kind of along the lines of what I've already been saying, but if there are obstacles that come up for you in whatever this pursuit of yours is, I don't feel like you'll give up, but because this card kind of implies a state of failure or a state of giving up, of surrender, I do want to say it's like, just because it might appear on the surface that you're not being supported, like if there's proverbial traffic along the way to your destination, don't turn around and go back home. Like, you've made it this far. Even if this far means you've only just stepped out the front door of your house and there's a turtle crossing your path or something. Or a solicitor that stops you and tries to talk your ear off when you're trying to get somewhere and you end up being late. Like, don't take that as a sign that you're doing the wrong thing. You know, it's like no matter which direction you go in, no matter what your goals are, there's always going to be a little friction that you need to push through in order to get there. That could also be what this card is about, is like pushing through, carrying the burden that is pursuing your goals. But it's like if you're trying to go to the log pile, this is very odd imagery, but if you're trying to deliver the firewood, if it starts raining, you're not going to just drop everything right where you are and then run back into the house. You're going to try your best to get the firewood to somewhere where it can be dry. I don't know, this is a very weird analogy. I probably shouldn't have run with that, but what I'm trying to get at is that don't give up. Let's just leave it at that. I do want to pull one more card just to kind of bring this in for a landing and maybe see if there's any point in the reading that needs to be more emphasized. Okay, we have the Hanged Man. This is the card of Pisces. Pisces for you, Cancer, is the culmination of the water triplicity. You know, it's like that is the end destination for you as a water sign, because you are the beginning of the water triplicity. You kind of evolve through Scorpio and then end up in Pisces, you know, connected to the infinite source of all things and aware of the underlying fabric of reality. And when you're attuned to that level of reality, you're very much able to shape it in the way that you want. And that can be a good thing. It can also be a very bad thing, depending on who you are and how you approach things. But it's making me think of suspend your disbelief, which is an odd thing, mostly because the Empress is here. And with Jupiter already in your sign, and this emphasis on Venus, it's like Venus is going to be in your sign and is going to be joining up with Jupiter. It's like there's going to be a lot of opportunity for life to surprise you, to shower blessings upon you in some way, and to maybe really contradict the way that life has felt for you up till this point. Because we did come into the reading with this card. It's like, this is where you've been, this is where you're at. Or where you feel like you've been, anyway. Things have been very difficult. It's been very challenging for you to embody your truth and to speak your truth without feeling like you've been met with obstacles every step of the way. But you've persevered. And it's like, now that you're here, I don't want to say you can sit back and relax and allow the blessings to shower in, but at some level it is going to feel that way. It's just going to feel easy and simple. And when life feels easy and simple, it's so much easier for us to kind of sit back and reflect and to feel gratitude and to feel in touch with the magic of being alive. Connecting with this King of Pentacles. This is the one who has embodied the magic of being alive. Whereas this, Pisces card, it's like Pisces is the magic. Or is floating in the ocean of magic. Or existing as the ocean of magic. It's a little chaotic at times, but this King of Pentacles, it's like it contains, it stabilizes, it grounds, and it beautifies. It uses that watery energy to nourish the garden that's being tended. I mean, look at all those beautiful plants in there. Grapes and mushrooms, ferns, who knows what else. Looks like maybe gooseberries. When you feel spiritually supported, spiritually attuned, spiritually at peace, abundance feels easy because it's just a state that's reflecting the inner state. The garden out here is the reflection of the garden in here and in here. So be open to that. Don't hold on. Another thing with this Five of Swords, being that it's emphasizing the fixed sign of Aquarius, is this need to kind of hold on to our conceptions of reality, to hold on to the ideas that we have of what reality is and how it works. Don't limit yourself to that. Be open to the wind blowing through and ripping that all to shreds. Some new quantum discovery, totally obliterating whatever you thought reality was and how it worked. Like, that's going to be a consistent experience for you in the near approaching future. And with the Hanged Man, it's like, what can you learn from that? Because abundance and poverty, at their most basic expression, it's the flux and flow of life. Like, life is going to consistently just do that, change and go up and down and build up and collapse. And, it's like the moon waxing and waning. That's just life. That's the nature of being an embodied person. And the Hanged Man is the one who suspends themselves in the stillness between the flux, who knows that both states are expressions of the same unity, the same unmoving ocean. Yeah, and everything that I've said about Venus earlier with in connection to the King of Pentacles, with Venus and the card of Pisces showing up, like this is exalted Venus energy. And I mean, Venus does very well in the sign of Cancer. It's a very natural sign for her to be in, especially in that first decan. I think the first decan of Cancer is ruled by Venus in one system. It's just going to feel very easy to appreciate how beautiful life can be. You know, everything I've said with this card, it's like, yes, that. We're going there. Okay. Anyway, I hope that this reading helped y'all, and I wish you the best, Cancer. I know it's probably been rough going for a little while, but I think we're on the up and up. There's still some things we got to work through and some stuff that's going to be coming up, but I think you've got some support behind you to get through it, whether seen or unseen. But yeah, wish you all the best. Take care, okay?